would assume there'll be frogmen there, and I assume CNN fake news cameras will show up. I'm waiting. Pelosi also calling it a staggering act of corruption. Mitt Romney called it unprecedented. Mitt, I have a special message for you. Do you, Mitt Romney, Senator Mitt Romney, lawmaker Mitt Romney, former Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney, do you believe that every American has a right to the presumption of innocence? And do you believe every American has a right to a fair and impartial jury? Mitt Romney, do you believe that? I guess in the end, maybe it's a good thing if you don't, that you lost. That speaks volumes about you, Senator Romney, former governor. The frail, the corrupt Joe Biden, like we need lectures from him. Oh, President Trump, the most corrupt president in history. Hey, Joe, fair question. Do you believe in a fair and impartial jury? Really? Are these people just dumb, or are they just lying to you? Look at this chart. So far during his presidency, Donald Trump has commuted the sentences of 11 people. Barack and Joe commuted a whopping 1,715. Bill Clinton, 61. Meanwhile, Bill Clinton tops the list for pardons, 396. Barack and Joe second, 212. So far with President Trump, just 25 pardons. So just who did Bill and Barack pardon and commute? We have the records. 1999, Clinton commuted 16 members of the group called the FALN, a terrorist organization connected to 146 bombings. See that bomb making right there? That's the group making the bombs. Clinton also pardoned, by the way, his Whitewater business partner, along with 3 others who were convicted, in the Ken Starr probe. I don't remember Schumer, Pelosi, Mitt Romney, speaking out about that. And don't forget Clinton pardoned his brother, Roger. He was convicted as, dealing cocaine. Meanwhile, the Obama and Biden administration also had a long track record of controversial clemency orders. Like, for example, Obama commuted the sentence of a top convicted FALN terrorist, Oscar Lopez Rivera, on his last day in office. He also commuted the sentence of a notorious drug kingpin known as the Crack King of Oakland. For perspective, President Trump just offered clemency to a man who was convicted of a process crime after getting railroaded by Mueller's witch hunt. And speaking of which, Mueller just issued an op-ed in the Washington Post celebrating his conviction of Roger Stone, as if he was a great threat to society. He was not. Senator Graham is now planning on bringing Mueller in for questioning, tweeting out, quote, apparently Mr. Mueller is willing and also capable of defending the Mueller investigation through an op-ed in the Washington Post. I'm with Lindsay. Let's bring Mueller back in, because I got a lot of questions I'd like to send in. Here with reaction, Fox News contributor, former Congressman Trey Gowdy. Congressman, before you became a congressman, now you're not a congressman, thankfully, I don't have to impugn that to you anymore. You were a prosecutor. If I recall, you never lost a case. Is that correct?
I had good cops and good victims, Sean.
Okay, and the next question is, do you believe that every American has a right to a fair and impartial jury?
They do. They're presumed innocent. They have a right to a fair and impartial jury.
Did Roger Stone have a fair and impartial jury?
Yeah, I'm troubled but first of all, it's a political prosecution, so the political views of the potential jurors are really important. What I don't know, Sean, is whether or not his attorneys had the chance to strike these jurors and made the strategic decision not to, and I would need to know that to be able to answer your question 100%.
Well, I think what we do understand, if I'm not mistaken, is that this was not known beforehand that this juror had a bias against Mr. Stone. What do you think that would be relevant that the judge would say that person should not be on the jury?
That's juror misconduct. If the question was asked and the information was withheld, that's juror misconduct, yes.
Okay, now as it relates to all these other matters, well, there are a lot of other people that have been referred to as well for telling lies. You know their names. How come we don't see 29 guys in tactical gear, frogmen, and CNN cameras? Is that a usual process for a process crime of lying to Congress, which in and of itself, is it usual process for a judge to put a gag order on a defendant so they can't even proclaim their innocence?
No, with defendants like Roger Stone, oftentimes you let them self-report. You just say, look, we have a warrant out for your arrest. You need to turn yourself in. You don't send a tactical unit. You don't send a SWAT unit. You don't do it in the middle of the night. I never saw that. I didn't see that in drug cases. I certainly didn't see that in process cases like false statements.
Once it was discovered that the jury foreperson had a prejudice against Mr. Stone, wouldn't it be fundamental common sense, decency, and real justice to call a mistrial and start again, worst case scenario?
Yes. Yes, mistrial if it happens during the trial, a new trial if it happens
New
afterwards.
trial, yes, sir. All right, thank you, Congressman. Appreciate it. All right, when we come back, Roger Stone, his first TV interview.